Guys, it's Sarah, and today let's talk about some TV shows that I have recently binged watched. I actually only have 3 to talk to you about today, but one of them was pretty big. So, yeah. All right, so the first one that I binged was Sharp Objects, and this was on HBO. And this one is based on the book Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn, which I did read. And this one, I had 6 episodes left to watch. I watched the first 2. It's only 8 episodes long, and that's it. I watched the first 2, and then I stopped and didn't continue. And I don't know why it took me months to go back to it, but I finally did. And I don't know why I stopped, because I loved the first 2 episodes. So this one stars Amy Adams, and she is fantastic. And she plays the journalist who is working not in her hometown anymore, but she ends up getting sent back to her hometown on an assignment because she's from this town. It's a very small town, and there's a murder there that happens. And so her boss sends her there so that she can kind of get the inside scoop, follow along with the case, see what's happening, because she knows everybody and she kind of has, some connections there and all that. However, this is a very toxic environment for her. Her family is still there. Her family is very, very unstable and very unhealthy. And you kind of see what has happened to her in her childhood because of that. You see how she deals with things as an adult, which is not very good. And she gets involved with one of the detectives on the case, and it's so good. It's very, very, very dark, very Gillian Flynn, and Amy Adams just played this perfectly. It was so great. I loved it. I thought it was a wonderful adaptation. And yeah, if you like dark, gritty types of things, then you'll like this one. The next one that I finished up was 911, and I finished up the 2nd season. So the first season was 10 episodes. The 2nd season was longer, but they took a break in between. It almost felt like it was season 3, but it wasn't. It was the end of season 2. Season 3 actually starts in September. And I turned it on one day to get started on it because I wanted to finish it up before September. And I watched it in the bedroom. My husband was in there with me, and he was like on the computer or something, and I started watching it, and then all of a sudden he was kind of turning around and watching it, and then all of a sudden he was hooked, and he was so mad because it takes a lot to get my husband to sit down and watch a TV show. He doesn't want to invest all the time into watching a show. He has very select few that he really likes. That's maybe like a handful, but now he likes 911. So I got him, but it was very good. The scenarios in the show they're just insane, which is very entertaining, but then some of it you can tell it was taken from real life situations and, probably embellished. You also saw a lot of a domestic violence situation with one of the characters, and that kind of got concluded and what happened with that. And the chief of the fire station also came into some, not scandal, but he got into some trouble, and he was like being investigated. So you had to see all that happen, and he was removed from his position for a while, and someone else took over, and like that was a whole thing. But it was very good, very, very good. And I am excited to see where season 3 is going to go. The last show that I binged recently was Game of Thrones. The entire thing. I watched the entire series. Okay. I loved it. I loved every minute of that show. It was fantastic. It made me feel things. The dragons were so realistic. I have no words for how they did that. It looked so real. And I'm sitting there watching it like, there's no way that's not real. They look so real. I don't understand how they did that and just made it look like I could reach out and touch that dragon and it's real and it's an actual animal. And oh my gosh, it was fantastic. The characters were so good. I'm in the minority where I actually really liked the ending. I thought it made a lot of sense. And I know I'm in the minority. I know a lot of you are going to say you hated the ending. I get it. I do. I get it. I understand why. But I also understand why they did it the way that they did it. Like, there's reasons, and it made a lot of sense. And I think if it had gone in other directions, it could have been a little bit more unrealistic just based on human nature and the way that the characters felt, like the characters who were in that time, who were playing it, and, you know, their views on life and their views on war and their views on what actually happened. It made sense the way that it ended. It shocked the crap out of me multiple times. I cried multiple times. The dragons made me cry. Hodor made me cry. Oh gosh, just so many things made me cry. I cried multiple times in this show, and yeah. I loved it. I loved every minute. Like, this is a show I would watch it from beginning to end again. I loved it so much. It was so great. I'm currently reading the books as well. I'm working my way through the first book. I know that at a certain point in the books, the show deviates from the books, and it's not exactly, as of right now, it's still exactly, I'm only a little bit, almost halfway through the first book, but so far it's exact the way that the show was going, but I know that it will go off on its own, which makes sense because the final book isn't even released yet. But knowing that George R.R. Martin was not only a producer of the show, but also one of the writers, you know that he had a hand in all this stuff. So, like, even though they deviated, he still was like kind of guiding the process and making sure his characters were taken care of and making sure it stayed true to the characters that he wrote. So that was also really good, but I loved it. I'm definitely a Game of Thrones fan. I'm in the fandom. I thought it was fantastic, and just, it was great. Favorite characters, Tyrion absolutely was my favorite character of the entire show. I also love Jon. I also love Daenerys, and the dragons. I'm not kidding. Like, the dragons were one of my favorite characters as well. And it was great. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. Okay, guys, that is it. Those are the most recent shows that I have binged lately. I do need to go on another one because I have some projects I need to kind of work on and catch up on, and I use those times to catch up on shows as well. So I should have another one here in the next couple months or so when I have, a good chunk of shows that I can talk about. So let me know down below if you've watched any of these. Let me know what your thoughts are. And if you talk about Game of Thrones, try not to spoil it too much in the comments, because I know there's a lot of people who haven't seen Game of Thrones, and I was actually spoiled for something that happened at the end before I watched it. And I was really mad because it was like the day I was going to finish the show, and then I got a spoiler. It was like, seriously? Okay, that's great. So try not to do too many spoilery things. Okay, I will talk to you guys soon. Hope you have a great day. Bye.